You're listening to this podcast, so I know you've got a curious mind. Here's a helpful fact you may not know yet. Drivers who switch and save with Progressive save over $900 on average. Pop over to Progressive.com, answer some questions, and you'll get a quick quote with discounts that are easy to come by. In fact, 99% of their auto customers earn at least one discount. Visit Progressive.com and see if you can enjoy a little cash back. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average 12-month savings of $946 by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June 2024 and May 2025. Potential savings will vary.
K-pop Demon Hunters Haja Boys breakfast meal and Huntrix meal have just dropped at McDonald's. They're calling this a battle for the fans. What do you say to that, Rumi?
It's not a battle. So glad the Saja Boys could take breakfast and give our meal the rest of the day.
It is an honor to share.
No, it's our honor.
It is our larger honor.
No, really. Stop.
You can really feel the respect in this battle. Pick a meal to pick a side.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
At participating McDonald's while supplies last.
But out of that, a new holiday was born. A Festivus for the rest of us.
Live from the YouTuber machine, it's the Stacking Benjamin Show. I'm Joe's mom's neighbor, Doug, and today's the opening ceremony for the Summer Olympic Games in Paris, which means we're upstaging them with our own party here in Texarkana. How do you win your own gold medal with your money? We'll walk you through our biggest tips with a woman who knows she's not only a certified financial planner, but also the first American woman to medal in both the Summer and Winter Olympics, Lauryn Williams. And the guy who totally be the Olympic champion of podcasters from this podcast, it's OG. And the woman who thinks you can afford to go to any Olympics, but maybe not all the Olympics, from Afford Anything, it's Paula Pant. But that's not all. Halfway through this epic episode, we'll save time for my incredible Olympic-themed trivia contest. And now, a guy who's on his way to a gold medal and chomping down peanut butter parfaits, it's Joe Saul-Sehy.
Thank you so much, Doug. I do love a peanut butter parfait. It is amazing. And yes, maybe not the gold medal. I do have to say, though, I went recently to a Andy's ice cream. We just got here in town. And I walk up to the front window. The woman opens up the window and she says, Texas two-step? And I said, yeah, that's what I was going to order. How did you know? And she goes, because what you always order. And then I realized the woman at Andy's freaking knows me. That is not good when the ice cream seller knows your order by name. Maybe I'm a little closer to the gold medal than I want to be. But let's say hi to our gold medal panelists who are with us today. First of all, the guy right across the card table from me, Mr. OG is here. How are you, man?
Fantastico. Excited for the Olympic ceremonies. Those are always fun to watch. And I appreciate it being, a little closer to home. When it gets in Tokyo or Japan Korea. Or it's like, I don't know what time that's really on. I don't know if I'm watching it live or whatever. At least in Paris, it'll be kind of delayed, but it'll be okay. So.
Yeah, a little bit closer. And the woman who is watching the opening ceremonies, I'm sure tonight from Manhattan, Paula Pant is here.
Absolutely.
Are you going to be glued to your TV tonight?
I don't have a TV, so no. What? I have the internet. It's okay. The internet does what a TV does.
Oh,
okay.
Fantabulous.
Fair enough.
And Paula, what's your favorite Olympic event?
When I was a kid, I always loved watching ice skating, figure skating. That, of course, that's Winter
a Winter
Olympics.
Olympic. Wrong one, but that's good.
I don't. What do they do in the Summer Olympics? There's tennis. There's
running.
Swimming. What else is there?
Running.
There's running.
And jumping.
Swimming. And swimming. That's a thing.
Throwing things.
Is there javelin?
Sure.
Yes, that is a thing.
Hammer toss.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
Hammer throw.
I would watch some javelin.
Put.
Ooh, shot put.
You could throw yourself using a pole over a thing.
Oh my goodness. Not only does she not know pop culture, she doesn't know Olympic culture.
And throw yourself over a railing to avoid a big puddle of water as you run for 5,000 meters. That's fun.
3,000 meters, steeplechase.
And if you just splash in the water at the steeplechase, you can take a bath.
I would cannonball everybody right away. The first one, I'd go out, just sprint. And they'd be like, whoa, this guy's just shot out of a cannon. Does he know that this is a 10,000 meter race? You know, he needs to let out. And I'd get to the top and I wait for everybody to catch up and then cannonball, gloosh.
Bam.
3,000 meters for the second time, OG. 3,000 meters steeplechase.
Oh,
yes.
I thought it was 10. I'm sorry.
And that voice you're hearing now is a woman who's not only been to the Olympics, she is an Olympic champion. And Lauryn Williams joins us. How are you?
Delightful, and also looking forward to the opening ceremonies tonight. And most exciting thing that's going to happen in the Olympics this time is breakdancing, people. It is in the Olympics for the first time ever.
Can you believe that?
Saw that.
Check it out.
What do you think? As somebody who is a person who is in, the OG Olympics, right? I mean, running was something that was in the original Greek games. What do you think about breakdancing being a part of the Olympics?
I'm okay with it. I'm not okay with things that are more like games that you play in game night being in the Olympics, but we're not going to name those things right now. Breakdancing, I think, is cool. That is definitely a sport.
What are those things? Is like Settlers of Catan in the Olympics now? Did I miss something?
We are headed that direction, and I'm not excited about it, but not quite there yet.
Cards Against Humanity, is that part of it?
Cards Against Humanity.
Wouldn't that be fantastic? So, Lauryn, not only have you been there, and I'm going to ask you a little bit about that, but I think you might have your medals somewhere where people joining us on YouTube might be able to see your medals. Where you must keep your medals like in a display case, like someplace where everybody can see them.
I feel like you just love to call me out on this. You guys got to go back to episode, I don't know what number, and figure out where my medals were then. But today,
It's always my favorite thing, everybody.
This is where they are.
They're in like a shopping bag.
Economic bags, yeah, like it's great. Like, let me just get them out of here. Okay, we've got medals. Yes,
Check that out.
3 of them actually.
For people not with us. Oh, that's beautiful.
Scoreboard.
Gold. There we go. Sorry if you can't see. You're only listening. My bad.
Lauryn, which event is that in? The gold.
That was the 4x1 relay. This is silver in the Winter Olympics for bobsled, not ice skating, Paula.
Wow.
And then to your point, my very first games was in the origination place of the Olympics, Athens, Greece, where I won the silver medal in the 100 meters.
Wow.
That is so badass. That's great. I want to ask you about being on those podiums in just a second, but before that, let's talk about the opening ceremonies for a second. Sometimes athletes walk with their country. Other times, like your event is coming up right away. Did you get to walk out in the opening ceremony? Were you actually a part of it?
I did get to walk, I think it was the very first time in Athens. And then I did not walk in the next 3 games because of what you just said. It's a lot of standing, a lot of hurry up, a lot of wait. And so we missed the opening ceremonies, even though it's the coolest thing for spectators to watch. It is a quite a bit of an affair for an athlete, especially when you're getting ready to compete. But the first one was pretty cool.
Yeah. So you're waiting there around with tons of other athletes. Put us there, like what we're going to see tonight from an athlete's perspective. When you come out and you walk out into that arena, what's that like?
It is one of those things that you can't put words to. It's like, I am in the Olympic Stadium. I am at the Olympic Games. I am going to compete here. I earned a spot in this particular place and time, and no one can take that away from me. And it's like this one moment where you really realize, like, hey, I did a pretty cool thing that only 1% of the world has done. I think probably less than 1% of the world if we're talking real numbers here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty awesome.
0.01% of the world. Absolutely.
Probably.
We hear about athletes and fraternizing at the games. Some true love happens at the games. Did you witness any of that?
I did not witness any of that, nor did I participate in any of the fraternizing at all. I was a Girl Scout at the Olympic Games, very focused on winning my medals.
She knows the
there may or may
microphone's
not
on.
have been bowls of condoms laying around the Olympic Village, though. That is a real thing that happened.
That is a real thing.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And then were you there any of the years that they had like McDonald's sitting around?
I think that is still a thing, yes, and very much the official food of the Olympic Games. And if you've eaten in the cafeteria of the Olympic Village, you'd see why there's a McDonald's and why athletes depend on that. I have not eaten McDonald's since I was 8, so did not win any Olympic Games because of them. Not sponsored by Mickey D's.
This year it's called the Royale with cheese.
Right. Nothing says training plan more than large fries and a Shamrock shake.
Right. And high cholesterol and high blood pressure. And hey, let's not go there though.
What a great night. And when you watch tonight, I mean, is it at all mixed emotions, or is it glad I did it? Is it, tell me what you're going to feel tonight.
I think I'm past the point of the mixed emotions. I think the first games that I didn't compete in, I was like, man, I could probably still be doing this. And then the second time was like, I could maybe still be doing this. And now I'm like, oh, have at it, you young whippersnappers. I am so proud of you. Go ahead. So, it's nice to see the changing of the guard.
Today, we're going to talk more about what you do now, which is help people with their money. We are going to help our stackers win the gold medal with your money. So each of you have thought of a few things that are baseline to helping people with their money. And you know what the best part of this whole discussion is going to be, Lauren? Clearly, the gold medal piece of this entire chat.
What is that?
It's the fact that this episode is brought to you by State Farm. That's it.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. If you're a small business owner, it isn't just your business, it's your life. Whatever your business might be, you want someone who understands. That's where State Farm Small Business Insurance comes in. State Farm agents, they're small business owners too, and know what it takes to help you prioritize your policies for your small business needs. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Talk to your local agent today. We have a few other sponsors that make this free for everybody. We're going to hear one more right now, and then we're going to talk Olympics and your money. I had a breakfast mentoring meeting yesterday with a young woman who was just amazing. She is graduating from college with a degree in wealth management, and she reached out hoping for some pointers. And listen, if somebody's in Texarkana and wants to go into this beautiful field of personal finance and helping people get their money together, that is incredible. But even more incredible is how she reached out, how she was trying to network. And I was having a discussion that finding the right person and avoiding the wrong person for a role, that's what can make or break an organization. And we just don't see that many qualified people. So how do you find them? Well, Indeed sponsored jobs is a boost whenever you need to find quality talent. If you're hiring, Indeed is all you need. You can stop struggling to get your job post even seen on other sites. You'll match with quality candidates with Indeed's sponsored jobs. Get matched with and hire quality candidates who can drive the results you need. Reach candidates who meet your specific criteria like skills, certifications, or location. It drives me crazy when I'm matched with all kinds of people who aren't a fit. I don't have that kind of time. People are finding quality hires on Indeed right now. In the minute I've been talking to you, companies like yours made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. Sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed are 95% more likely to report a hire than non-sponsored jobs. Spend less time searching and more time actually interviewing candidates who check all the boxes. Less stress, less time, more results. When you need the right person to cut through the chaos, this is a job for Indeed sponsored job. And here's what's cool, stackers. You're going to get $75 in sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support Stacking Benjamins by saying you heard about Indeed right here at Stacking Benjamins. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring, do it the right way with Indeed. We got Lauryn Williams here. We got Paula Pant. We've got OG. Let's get this party started. Usually we begin these episodes by talking about a popular blogger, but we don't need one tonight. We've got obviously enough inspiration with all these athletes that we're going to be seeing over the next few weeks competing. And I have to tell you, I enjoy a good workout like the next person, but I know the next 3 weeks, it's easier than ever to work out because I'm just out there, going 2 miles an hour thinking, yeah, if they can do it, I can do it.
I can still hang.
Yeah, well, maybe not hang, but it certainly is makes it a little easier to do the 3-mile trudge. But a lot of us are dreaming about going from just doing okay with our money to maybe winning the gold medal with our money. So Lauryn, let's start with you. What is really foundational to help us get that gold medal with our money? What's the first thing we maybe should think about?
In true Olympic status or Olympic mindset, you asked me to come with 2 things and I came with 6. So now I'm trying to decide which thing should I tell people about as the most important thing.
You can tell how she reached the Olympics overachiever. We said 2, she brought 6.
I'm thinking that optimism or confidence and optimism is a very important piece of the puzzle because a lot of times people go and they're like, all right, I'm going to be a millionaire. I'm going to do this thing. They just set a goal and they don't actually think that they can achieve the goal, and they get worn out pretty quickly. I think from an Olympic mindset standpoint, yes, I did a lot of training. I did a lot of competing, getting myself ready to be on the line, but I had to show up to that line believing that I could win, that I was actually going to be the first person to the finish line in order to be able to achieve what I did. And I think that is a piece of the puzzle that some people are missing out on. They don't actually think that they can retire, that they can hit that $1 million net worth, that they can, fill in the blank with that financial goal. You have to have confidence and optimism in order to be able to pursue your financial dreams.
I love that, Lauren, because I remember when I, would get hired when I was a financial planner. You guys know this, OG knows this. People are so excited for the first 10 days, 20 days, 30 days. And then real life sets in, right? And all these forces are attacking what you tried to set up. And you go through some dark days. I'll bet when you were training for the Olympics and your whole career, there had to have been some dark days out there that you got to get through that you can't get through without optimism.
Exactly. You're sore, you're tired, you're injured, you didn't win the last race. That does not put you out of being in the championship. Not until you get to the USA trials where you need to be top 3 is it over. That's when the fat lady sings and you're either in or you're out. But there's a lot that happens before that makes you want to quit, makes you want to give up, makes you not feeling super optimistic. But you got to really believe and have confidence in yourself and your ability to be able to do it in order to get where you want to go.
So just because the woman at Andy's knows my name does not mean that I'm out. I could still do it.
You could still gain a lot of weight eating ice cream. Yes, that is doable.
I have a can-do attitude. Paula, how is optimism and confidence help you get to where you're at?
It's the foundation of everything. It's paramount, because if you don't genuinely believe that all of your effort could yield this result that you ultimately want, then you're never going to put forth that effort to begin with. If you think of a triangle, there's thought, feeling, and behavior, right? Thought, feeling, behavior. And if you don't have the thoughts and feelings, then that behavior angle of the triangle just doesn't come forth. And if the behavior part doesn't come forth, then it's lost.
Well, how do you get through the downturn? I mean, is it mantras? Is it belief? Is it surrounding yourself with the right people? What do you do?
I think be careful about what voices you let into your head. And that comes in every regard. It comes from what you read, what you watch, what social media accounts you follow. It comes from the people that you know in real life, but it also comes from the people that you listen to on the internet. You've got to listen to optimistic voices, optimistic, confident voices that build you up and that tell you you can do it and that give you hope, rather than, discourage you and tear you down, and, rather than the pessimistic ones.
Yeah, I've had some people in my life that I've had to limit my time around because I've realized that when I'm around them, I come out of those conversations less confident. And I need the confidence. Don't get me wrong, they're still friends of mine. I just don't want to hang out with them as much because it just erodes my confidence being around these people, because I feel like they question everything I do. And don't get me wrong, sometimes it's good to have people question you. I got to imagine, Lauren, when you were prepping, it was some great coaches that helped you get there too.
Ooh, I mean, it's not my turn, but I'd love to go again. Point number 2 is being coachable. I told you I got 6. So.
I was not even looking for number 2. It was a continuation number 1, but that totally is, isn't it?
It is so important to have the right people around you, the right team of people, and to be able to listen to what the coach is saying. So I feel like the coach is invaluable as the person that gets the thankless job. They never really get the credit. I get all the credit as the Olympian, I get to show the medals and everything, but I could not have done it without a coach. But I also needed to be coachable and listen to what she was saying.
OG, you and I have talked about what Lauren's saying here so many times. And I think it's your phrase where you're like, listen, don't get mad at me. It's math. I'm just showing you the math to get where you want to go.
Yeah. I mean, I think when it comes to financial planning or goal attainment, there's the benefit of the fact that you can just do the equation, right? You can just sit down and calculate all that stuff out, but there's so much more around the human behavior part of it, as both Lauren and Paul were talking about, in terms of picking yourself up. And I think all of this boils down to, as I hear both of them talk, I think about this as enjoying the process. It's not about, it's fun to win the medal, I guess. I've never won a medal in my life for anything, I don't think. But it's not about the achievement. It's about the process of the achievement. And when we're thinking about it, when it comes to financial planning or financial independence or whatever you want to talk about here, it's not about getting to $1 million. That's awesome. But So what if along the way it was sucky and you had a really bad experience and you don't have any friends and you never did anything cool and now you just got a bunch of money? Like, what's that worth? I would rather have $900,000 and a ton of experiences and a ton of connections. So a lot of it is not hyper optimizing every single solitary thing, but just looking at it as a journey. And then when you do get to the million, recognize that that's just a new level. There's a great book by George Leonard called Mastery. It's an old book now, but it's all about enjoying the plateaus because, we go through life and we have all these periods of time where like nothing's going on. Business isn't growing the way we want it to. Our financial plan's not growing the way we want to. Our income's not doing what we think it should be doing. Then all of a sudden this big spike happens and it's like, oh, that's the cool part. Well, the cool part has to be in the process and in the systems and like doing the thing over and over again. The reason that your investment portfolio is like gangbusters right now is because you kept dumping money in 2022 and it was sucky. That's why, because you did all that stuff in 2022. Thankfully, it was only a year, so people didn't have enough time to like let off the gas. It was like 21 was awesome. Okay, 22 sucked, and then 23 started being awesome again. And it's like the reason that you see these huge returns in your portfolio over the last 18 months is because you kept doing the thing in 2022. When you look at the future and say, we talked about this earlier in the week, Joe, it's like, if the market's going to go down, what do I do about it? It's like, well, you should hope it goes down. If it does, you have to keep the same behavior up. What if another 2003 happens for 3 years and the market's negative? That's okay, because in the long process, that pays dividends on the back end. Doesn't seem like it in the immediate time, just like Lauren's training or whatever. It's like leg day sucks. Everybody knows that, but you have to do it.
It does.
But I think that even though leg day sucks, I got to believe, Lauren, sometimes you're out there on the track when nobody's around, or practicing with the bobsled, nobody's around, and you got to kind of just embrace the practice, like embrace just the time you're spending, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, to OG's point, it's about the journey. So it's like, what's happening right here, right now, in this moment. So I need to make the most of each and every moment, even when I'm sore, even when I'm tired, even when it's raining outside. Like, I still got to get these reps in because I'm building a strong foundation to be able to go and have that good competition. I get my butt kicked in a competition, but hey, there's a championship that I'm trying to win here. Those competitions are getting me race sharp so that I can be great when I hit the Olympic trials or I can hit the Olympic games. It's all about the process, but enjoying the moment and staying focused in the moment, even when things are sucking, to keep going.
It is amazing. A place I think where this analogy breaks down is on the time that you spent. You clearly had to spend hours and hours and hours and hours. People want to be great with their money and they want to spend no time. And what's funny is, you guys know, you don't have to spend a huge amount of time to be competent with your money, to be decent with the heck, even to really win, quote, the gold in the big scheme of things. You don't have to spend every hour of every day. And yet people don't do that. And they want to be super with their money. I want to be Instagram famous. If I just win the lottery, things will be better. Paula, what's on your list as foundational for the Olympic gold and money?
So on my list, the number one thing is boost your income. And do that early, because if you can get a boost to your income, let's say that you're 35 and you boost your income by 20% through a job change or through a career change, you boost your income by 20% at the age of 35. And then let's assume that from that point, from age 35 on, you have no other major income boosts other than inflationary upkeep. Just that one single boost that happens once, that alone would have hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars of impact down the road in your net worth. Just one thing that happens once.
Why boost your income and not cut expenses?
Couple of reasons. Number one is, what you ultimately care about is the difference between what you earn and what you spend. The greater the difference, the better. But in terms of how low can you go, there's a threshold beyond which you just can't go any lower. To quote you can't shrink your way to greatness. Like, you can't frugal down any further. That's one of the two reasons. The other reason is that the amount that you're going to spend changes throughout the course of your life as the size of your family increases, decreases, kids are born, kids move out, etc. So your grocery bill expands or contracts. Your utility bills expand, contract. But the amount that you earn, there's no cap to that, right? There's no limitation.
How often have you had to tell people, Lauren, that it's an income problem, that, you know what, your whole financial plan means you really need to make more money?
I've said it more than a few times, and it is a hard thing sometimes for people to hear is like, wait, well, where am I going to get more money from? Also, get ready for the nasty grams that are coming because Paula said that I need to get a raise. That's what they're going to say. I listened to this episode and Paula said I need a raise and employers are going to be calling you guys.
Perfect. Bring it on because though, Lauren, I mean, seriously, people don't ask their boss for a raise enough. Every study shows people don't ask their boss for a raise enough. And when they do ask, they don't ask in a way that's going to get a raise. They don't talk about the company and how they can help more. They talk about, I need new shoes.
Right. And that's not what you should be saying. You should be talking about the value that you're bringing to the company. Write down, keeping a little list. I have just a notebook of like, here's the ways that I add value to this thing that I'm participating in, and going into your boss's office and saying, hey, it's time for more money. And here are the reasons why I'm a valuable asset to this company. I'm invested here the same way that you are. I want to see this company grow, but I also need to grow is a better way to say it instead of, I need new shoes.
Yeah, absolutely. It is funny. OG, Lauren said it. I said it a lot when I was a financial advisor. I remember people coming into my office and being frustrated. They're like, I feel like I've cut everything, Joe. I feel like I've done everything right. And I'm like, I think you have, except you haven't made enough money.
We lived this when my wife was working. She worked in consulting, got a great job out of college, nice company, got a nice bonus, all that sort of stuff. And started working or had a relationship with a different company, like kind of outside group, basically. And I said, well, you should ask and see what they're, if they have any opportunities. And the difference between, like Paula said, I think it was probably, I can't remember the exact numbers now because it's been a while, but I feel like it was north of 20% the difference. It was a lateral move. It was from company A to company B. And it was at least a 20% increase in terms of compensation.
Doing the same work.
Same job.
Mm-hmm.
A year later, she didn't like it. She didn't like the team. She didn't like the company. She went back to her old boss and said, kind of hat in hand, I'm not really happy over there. And he was like, cool, come back. And oh, by the way, if it was just about money, you should have asked. I'd have just given you the extra money. And it's like, so it's like kind of both of what y'all are talking about. Like it manifested itself in our lives. As an employer, it's a lot harder to recruit and train new people into the culture and into the society that we try to build as an organization, let alone the technical competence that's required to do a specific job. You can test for that or screen for being a good financial planner to some level, but then it's hard to test to see whether or not you fit in the culture. And if you've got somebody that's there, it's easier for us to say, like, I'll just give you more money than trying to find somebody different, especially if, like you guys were both talking about, you show up with a list of like, here's the value that I can add or that I have been adding to the organization. And here's how I see my role in the future. I think Paula said it best. There's no limit to your income. You can cut a lot of stuff, but then there's some stuff you can't. I mean, yeah, Dave Ramsey says, oh, you can sell your house and move to a small. Yeah, you can. I mean, but that's not like a quick fix, right? That's not you got to change school districts and friend groups. And like, it's not that simple just to pull the Band-Aid off like that to go, I'm going to change my housing. It's like, you got a mortgage. You just do now, so it's easier to,
That's why it's easier, OG, too, to get on the gold medal track early, because to some degree we get bougier as we get older. Like I get used to my house. I get used to my car. I get used to my lifestyle. When you see these people in their 30s and in their 40s and they're told to cut some of these things, they identify with these things in their life. It's so difficult to do. And man, if you start off on that path that I'm used to living in a tent and then everything brings you joy beyond the tent, is a great place to be. But I love this progression because I think it does start with optimism and confidence and being coachable, and then looking, how do I increase my income as quickly as possible? OG, let's layer the next one on. What's your first foundational
like no
piece?
pressure. I was just making stuff up here. I didn't know there was like a theme that I was supposed to follow. So it would have been a lot more helpful to know the whole storyline in advance.
Olympic episode.
I hope I can like just take what I was going to say and just fold it into the whole dialogue so far. I'm just going to say this one. Basically, it kind of talking about coaching and enjoying the process. Try to figure out 1% to be better at than you were last month or 6 months ago or whatever the case may be. And I'm thinking about this from a money standpoint. If you got credit card debt and interest rates freaking 30% or whatever, call and see if you can get it to be 25%. See if you can find a way to make that a lower number. If you're paying $300 a month on your student loan and you want to pay it off, see if there's a way you can pay, hold your breath, $303. I did the math on the fly. It's always a risk on live TV to do math, but I think I got it right. That little bit, saving 1% extra in your 401k and increasing it like that every 6 months, or adding 1% to your savings account or 1% return to your savings account. Interest rates have been high for 2 years. If you don't have a freaking 5% savings account at this point, I don't know what to tell you. Like, it's going to start going the other way pretty soon. The ship kind of sailed there. But if you can find a little bit of thing to tweak and do that every so often, I think you have a path for the compounding results of those little bitty changes.
I thought Lauryn was going to cut you.
How did I do there, by the way? Try to put that in the whole story arc.
Yeah, I thought that Lauryn was going to cut you like Caitlin Clark from the team. But maybe
you get to live for another round. Yes. Right. Not yet. You're on the chopping block, though. You're like, I didn't come to practice prepared. And I'm like, wait, what? We came to win. All of us came to win today.
OG showed up in sweatpants and you're like, nah, man.
No, not good. Lauryn, how much of it was getting those little things right? Getting the little tweaks right? That's the difference between an Olympic athlete and just maybe a star on a college team.
It makes a grand difference. In my race, the 100 meters, you win or lose by 0.001 of a second sometimes. Paying attention to the details is incredibly important because if you get out of the blocks wrong, if you use the wrong form, if you pop your head up too soon, that's the difference between you winning and you losing. And so you absolutely need to pay attention to the details. Those little things can add up and they go quite a long way, especially like you said, when you're in the hot seat and you're trying to figure out like the hot seat being maybe retirement. As we talk about money, what happens 20 years down the road matters what you're doing today. And those little things today will add up to that. That's that compounding interest that we're always talking about as an example.
I'd love to go around and just ask each of you, what's a little thing that might pay big dividends based on the amount of time that it takes? Lauryn, do you have one? Were you thinking of one?
Ooh, I would say.
Well, let me give you mine first. Go
for it.
I can give you a second if you want, because mine is, and I didn't do it for the last 3 years. And then we just did our book club where we're taking people through Stacked, a group of people through Stacked. And one of our homework assignments was to compare your insurance policies like we tell people to do every year here on the show. I finally did it for the first time in 3 years. And I think we saved like $400, like not insignificant money for a 30-minute job. Like that was like $800 an hour income. That was pretty good money for a very, very small thing that, you know, I talk about all the time and I overlooked it. Just stupidity. How about that? Did that buy you time, Lauryn?
That did buy me time, but I don't know if you're gonna like my answer or not. I'm gonna say it though. It's not quantitative. It is saying no. Mm-hmm. That goes a long way. That adds up. That's a little thing that it turns into a big deal. Let me give you an example. I was invited to speak in Miami in December, and I decided to say no. Why was I thinking about saying yes? Because maybe I could see my mom and hang out with my family and friends. And it was like, it's not a paid speaking engagement, which I usually get paid pretty well to speak. But I was like, well, it's a free flight home. Well, what was I going to do? Spend money on little things that I did not need to do. It was not on my list of things to do. It was not in my budget. And so simply saying no is going to pay me dividends over time. Confidently saying no when you're thinking about like, I'm not really sure. Yay, maybe. Say no, and that is a little thing that can go a long way.
Mm-hmm. Paula, you can't say she took mine, even though you're nodding your head.
Yeah. The reason I'm nodding so vigorously is this is something I've been thinking about a lot lately. I can feel in my own life I've been saying yes to far too many things that have some benefit, but they're not necessarily optimal. Speaking engagements, that's a good example. Just things in my own life. I mean, it's like the amalgamation of lots and lots of good, but that ends up taking all of your time and it blocks out the great.
Ooh, because we don't want to just be good. We want to be great.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, that's the theme here, right? We're not looking for bronze.
Yeah. But if I can add one thing to the little tweak that makes a big difference, set up automations. It takes very little time to do so. You do it once and then it just hums in the background. So it could be automatic savings. It could be using like an app like Acorns to automatically like round up every purchase and move it into an investment account. It could be using something like Capital. It could be just old fashioned automatically transferring portions of your paycheck into various, automate as much as possible, whatever it is that you want to do. Like automate, then habit, in terms of the waterfall flow.
Oh, gee, you got the last one. What's another one?
No pressure.
What was the question? I'm just like, I'm taking notes.
You are not making the team. Only 3 people make the team today, and you are right now in 4th place. Really, you're more like in 8th place.
I'm taking notes, trying to keep up with y'all. I mean, Look, I think when it comes to the systems around success, when you're looking at behavior versus, the stuff, right? Like, yeah, it's great if you start with mom and dad gave me $800,000. Like, that's a cool way to start your financial journey. But even then, you have to build the right habits along the way. And like Paula said, sometimes you can't build the habit first. You have to figure out a way to like force yourself into the habit. When you got to get up and work out in the morning, sometimes just sleeping in your gym clothes is good enough to like be just enough motivation to like point you in that direction, So I don't know that like having a habit is going to be the thing that makes it work versus creating the systems one time, like Paula said, where you can just follow the system, right? If you're trying to eat healthy, it's a hell of a lot easier just to eat chicken and broccoli every single meal. It's not great. I've done it. It's not fantastic, but it's not bad. But it's a system that can work. And if you do it, you have a known outcome. You know what I mean? I think so many times around money, especially, we try to like create a new way to make a chocolate cake. It's like, just do the chocolate cake that everybody else makes that's really good. Just do that thing. It's already done. Somebody's already figured it out for you. And, we were talking the other day, Joe, about like option trading and stuff like that. You read it and all this stuff. It's like, why do we have to complicate this? It doesn't have to be complicated. Call your freaking insurance company and save $400, dude. Pick up the phone, see what happens. The worst they say is, like they said to me, Oh, you have a 16-year-old male driver? Oh, forget that.
It's going up.
Forget what we talked about a discount. You're going the other way.
OG, I saved $400 or I lost $400 on my bill, and you're like, I found it. I found it all.
No, it's way more than that. And I've got a 15-year-old that's about to drive. So 2 under 16-year-old males.
We're going to go back through for another sweep for each of your gold winning habits, ways to help people earn gold in their game of money management. But at the halfway point of every Friday episode, we have this year-long competition between our 3 frequent contributors, Paula Pant, OG, and Mom. And because Mom doesn't like doing the stairs, that means, Lauren, you're playing on behalf of Mom, which means good news and bad news for you. You want the good news or the bad news?
Good news, I'm going to win. The bad news, I'm in last place right now.
Well, no, the good news is Paula Pant's in last place. So Mom has had a 2-week winning streak, has won the last 2 weeks in a row. She now has 8. OG has 10. Paula has 6. Time, Paula, to stage that big comeback.
Yeah.
So that's where we sit. That means that OG is going to guess first. Lauren, you'll guess second. And then Paula will guess third. And of course, that means, Doug, we need a trivia question. So you said it's about the Olympics. What do we got, man?
Hey there, Stackers. I'm Joe's mom's neighbor, Doug, and today we're celebrating the opening ceremony of the Olympics. God, I love this time of year. It's the day when we salute all the athletes, like the track and field runners and the ice skaters and the... What's that? What's that now? Oh, yeah. Right. That's the Winter Olympics. Sure. I knew that. Yeah. Just testing you. Anyway, the swimmers, the race car drivers, and what? Oh, yeah. Okay. Not yet. Anyway, gotcha. Okay. Now that I see you're paying attention, let's shoot the arrow at the target, shall we? In the ancient Greek Olympics, the OG Olympics, we would call them, but our OG was born a few short years after those games. How many events were there? I'll be back right after I make sure my phone ringer is on. I've been expecting a call from the Olympic Committee about them adding me to the donut eating squad.
Maybe donut eating, Lauren, is the new sport you're talking about.
Maybe it's the new sport, but I don't think so. We don't need donut eating, but we are heading in that direction.
Creams?
Krispy
Kremes.
Krispy Kreme donut.
So good.
I know. I'm listening.
5-time Olympian.
I could compete.
Right.
I could compete on that one. Ancient Greek Olympics. OG, you're going first. How many different events were there?
For clarification purposes, this is like ancient Greek, like
ancient,
not 1894 Olympics. This is
not the brought back Olympics. Yes,
the Spartacus Olympics. Okay. How many events were there? Well, there was some sort of running, probably for a long time. That was the concept of a marathon, right? Wasn't that a Greek soldier running back to alert the city that they were about to be attacked, and then he died.
Running is the sport that everyone does for no matter what their sport is. You got to run and jump into the long jump pit. You got to run for basketball. Running is the sport of all sports.
Running,
the foundational.
Okay, foundational. So running. There's probably like lion taming, like jousting with like one another on swords, and I'm gonna say that there were 8 events.
8 different events. Lauren, you think that's high or low?
It's in the ballpark. I don't think that there was a whole bunch of different things going on like there are now today. Like track and field in and of itself, I think has 13 or 17 events, something like that.
I wonder how many events there. We didn't even do this research for today, how many events there are, but it's got to be, I would think 40, 45, 50.
I would say more than that.
If only there were a place we could look this up.
I think we can find the answer.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go a little bit less than him because, like, why not? It was way back in the day. They couldn't have so many things. I kind of want to go 5, but I think I should go a little bit higher. I'm going to go 7. I don't actually know the answer. So, yeah, it just feels better to say something less than OG.
There are, by the way, I just looked it up. This year, there's going to be 329 events.
Yeah.
So I was off slightly.
A lot more than 7.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's all right. OG said 8. Lauren's got 7. Caps him at the knees.
You got to figure a swimmer can win 8 medals in one Olympics.
Another Nancy Kerrigan reference.
That is a Nancy. Speaking of Olympics.
The Summer
Tanya
Olympics
Harding.
show. Yeah, exactly.
Yes. We're going to call her Lauren Harding.
Let's see. I also think it's a smaller number. There was running, there was archery, there was like, what's the thing where you throw the disc?
Disc
throw?
Discus?
Discus? Sure. Why are there 5 rings in the Olympic logo? Does that? So maybe 5 represents something, but I will go one above. I will go 6.
5 is the different continents, right?
I think you're right.
There's 7 continents, 6
there
of which
were
are
only 5 continents.
Inhabited.
Yeah.
Yeah, that math doesn't math. I don't know. Yeah.
No, that
Yeah.
Sorry, South America.
Well, you take the 6 that are inhabited, you minus the 1 that is not full-time habited, and then you have 5. So that's how it is.
It's still, we're not quite there. Paula, what did you end up saying?
So my answer is 6. My answer is 6.
And that's how Lauren gets, if it's not 7, Lauren's in big trouble. We got 6, 7, and Paula said 6. Lauren said 7. OG said 8. We will be right back to see who's the winner. In business, there is no room for guesswork. Every shipment matters. Every deadline counts. And when you're trying to keep operations running smoothly, the last thing you need is uncertainty. That's why reliability is at the core of USPS Ground Advantage. From the moment your package is first scanned in, it moves through a secure nationwide network, aiding in a timely and accurate delivery. You get near real-time tracking so you can keep up with your shipments. And with affordable upfront pricing, there are no hidden fees or surprise surcharges to throw off your cost sheets. It all adds up to predictable deliveries you can depend on, because knowing your logistics are handled lets you focus on everything else, your customers, your team, and the future you're building. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to start shipping with confidence. USPS Ground Advantage. We mean business.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy. Just drop in some details about yourself and see if you're eligible to save money when you bundle your home and auto policies. The process only takes minutes, and it could mean hundreds more in your pocket. Visit Progressive.com after this episode to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
You didn't start a business just to keep the lights on. You're here to sell more today than yesterday. You're here to win. Lucky for you, Shopify built the best converting checkout on the planet. Like the just one tapping, ridiculously fast acting, sky-high sales stacking, champion at checkouts. That's the good stuff right there. So if your business is in it to win it, win with Shopify. Start your free trial today at shopify.com/win.
Did you know Fast Growing Trees is America's largest and most trusted online nursery with thousands of trees and plants and over 2 million happy customers? Whether you're planting fruit trees, adding privacy, brightening things up with flowers, or bringing in houseplants, Fast Growing Trees has it all. Even better, they can help you find options that are right for your climate, your space, and lifestyle. Click Order Grow. Every plant arrives healthy with the Alive and Thrive guarantee straight to your door. So if you're ready to get planting, this is the moment. Right now, they have great deals on spring planting essentials, up to half off on select plants. And listeners to our show get 20% off their first purchase when using the code WWO at checkout. That's an additional 20% off. Better plants and better growing at fastgrowingtrees.com using the code WWO at checkout. Fastgrowingtrees.com, code WWO. Now's the perfect time to plant. Let's grow together. Use WWO to save today. Offer is valid for a limited time. Terms and conditions apply. Go to growingfasttrees.com for details.
So I did, Paula, check my trusty research assistant, ChatGPT is what I call it.
ChatGPT? Is that French?
ChatGPT. The 5 Olympic rings represent the 5 inhabited continents of the world. Africa, the Americas, considered one continent. Asia, Europe, and Oceania.
Wow.
Designed by Pierre somebody or another, the rings symbolize the unity of coming together of athletes from around the globe for the Olympic Games. The colors of the rings, blue, yellow, black, green, and red, along with the white background of the flag, were chosen because every nation had at least one of these colors in their national flag.
Wow.
Way to make a comeback, OG.
Whoa.
It was my research assistant.
Well, thanks, OG, for defending my honor there, too.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Wow.
But at least it didn't say, back in the early something BC, the 5 Olympic rings represented the 5...
represented the 5 sports.
Original games.
Yes.
The 5 original sports.
Discus, javelin, running, archery, and Cards Against Humanity.
Well, I'm definitely thinking like pentathlon. That's where I was like, oh, 5, but I don't really want to say 5.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
OG, you kicked this off by saying 8 events. You feeling good?
I mean, it has some symmetry to it.
Definitely not an even number.
I don't know.
Lauren,
we
7.
don't think it's an even number? Okay.
7 seemed good at the time, I think, until Paula, Nancy Kerrigan, you after you got Nancy, after you Nancy Kerrigan, OG.
I should have been confident and optimistic and just went with 5, but it's too late now.
Maybe
I'm
Tanya
sticking with
Harding.
7.
Yeah,
Nancy
good point.
was the victim, right? I mean,
Yeah.
Right.
Tanya was the attacker. Tanya's
Okay.
people.
And since you Tanya,
Technically, Jeff Gillooly was the attacker.
I was going to say it was like Tanya's people, right?
yeah, Paula Gillooly, how you feeling at 6 after you Gillooly the Gillooly?
Gilloolied. I'm feeling decent.
Got the
All
under.
right, well, let's see if you should be. Doug, who's going to win this thing?
Hey there, stackers. I'm professional donut eater and your tour guide for this year's opening ceremony celebrating trivia question, Joe's mom's neighbor Doug. Before I give you today's answer, here are some weird Olympic facts. The ancient Olympic Games lasted 5 to 6 months, which is why they decided to only hold them every 4 years. Also, the Olympic marathon celebrated a guy who actually died at the end. Not what we're looking for, nope. And if you ever thought that the Olympic marathon distance of 26.2 miles was weird, it's because the Olympic distance was going to be 25 miles for the London Olympics in 1908. But the royal family, you know how they are, they wanted the end of it to be in front of Buckingham Palace, extending the race another 1.2 miles and created this weird 26.2 distance forever. Thanks, royals. But today's question was this: how many events were in the original ancient Greek Olympics? The answer is 18.
Whoa.
18?
Way off.
How could they think of 18 things to do back then?
Dungeons and Dragons, Cards Against Humanity. What else?
Donut eating.
It's amazing how many fun things you could come up with to do when you don't have your phone distracting you all the time.
Fair enough.
You just go outside and there's way more than 18 things to do. Yeah. 4 to 5 months. Imagine the Olympics going 4 to 5 months. It's a lot of time on NBC.
Right. A lot of TV rights there.
It totally is. Time for the second half of our discussion about winning the gold with your money. The second half is brought to you by depositaccounts.com. Lauren, you know what happens when you go to depositaccounts.com?
You put money in accounts.
Absolutely. And you'll find out if it's a brick and mortar bank you're putting money into, it might not be paying very good interest. If you go to depositaccounts.com, right on the front page, it'll share with you the national average on a savings account. National average right now back up to 0.51%, just over 0.5%. You know what, though? If you're in the top 1%, which is still hundreds of banks, 4.96, much, much, much higher. Savings account, CDs, checking, money markets, more than 275,000 deposit rates from over 11,000 banks, credit unions, all for free at depositaccounts.com from LendingTree. All right, second time around, we're going to do this one in reverse order. OG, kick off the second half of this. What's another piece to winning the gold with our money?
A foundational thing for investing long-term is being an equity investor. This is an overarching theme when it comes to long-term investing. You have to be an owner of companies, not a lender to them. When you have fixed income in your portfolio, bonds or cash exclusive of a cash reserve, you have to have an emergency fund. I'm saying from an investment standpoint, you're Tanya hardening yourself. I don't know. Trying in terms of the growth. The only way to outpace inflation, the only way to continue to grow your money as you transition from one stage of life to the next is to be an owner of companies. And the way that we do that effectively is by diversifying it, by buying an S&P fund or a small company fund or an ETF, whatever the case may be. You don't have to buy individual stocks, but you want to be a very, very, very heavy equity investor for all of your investing time. You know, if you got money that you need, or if you got a goal that has a short-term time horizon, then that should have short-term money, cash. If it's long-term money, then it needs to be in long-term money buckets, and that's being an owner of companies. So own your companies, own lots of little parts of lots of big companies, and do it forever.
But you know, gee, what some people are saying, they're like, that's too much risk. I mean, that's a ton of risk. What do you say to people that say owning equities is a super risky place to be?
I think you have to define what risk really is. Risk is a chance of losing your money. What it probably mean is variability, right? It means it's going to bounce around a lot. I've heard the stock market is risky is a phrase that sometimes people say. And really what they mean to say is that I heard that the numbers are going to bounce around. I have $100 one day, $98 the next, 102 the next, 94 the next, 107 the next, and that's going to make me uncomfortable. But that's the price that you pay for long-term growth. If you have guaranteed money and guaranteed outcomes, you can't possibly have long-term returns that are going to outpace cash returns, outpace inflation returns, because there's no opportunity for that variability. The variability or volatility is the thing that creates the long-term higher returns, if that makes sense. So It's okay to have that. And the reason why it's okay is because the money that you're investing today is not for tomorrow. It's for 10 years from now. It's for 20 years from now. It's for 80 years from now. If you're investing for, the next generation, if you're thinking about, your kids or grandkids, the time horizon is so long that the short-term ups and downs shouldn't bother you. And if they do, that probably means that the goal that you have is not aligned with the money that you have. Because if you have a short-term goal and you have your money invested in long-term things, you're going to see that bouncing around. And then that's going to make you pretty nervous. I got to buy the house. I got to get the down payment in 6 weeks. And my NVIDIA stock's bouncing all over the place. Well, yeah, that's what it's going to do because you have long-term money and a short-term goal. That's going to make you concerned. But if you have long-term money in a long-term bucket, let it bounce around.
Lauren, I love this idea OG's talking about redefining risk. And it seems like as an athlete, we often have to just redefine our whole life. I can't imagine what type of, not just a diet you're on, but probably 2-a-day practice. You're on the track, I would think, all the time, or at the practice facility all the time. But as a financial planner, how often do you find you have to redefine things, redefine risk, reset the bar for clients?
I think I have to do it a little bit more frequently than I would like to. But the best part about being an athlete is that you get to tell cool stories about being an athlete to be able to describe these things. And so to OG's point, you lose 100% of the games you don't play. If you don't show up at practice, you can't build the foundation. If you don't go to the competition, you can't win. You weren't there. So you have to play the game in order to be able to win the game. So that's taking the risk of actually showing up. That's taking the risk of losing because you're there. And that's the way that I describe it to clients. Like if we're not willing to play, we can't garner any of the winnings that we're trying to get to retirement, to get to where we want to go. We've got this long-term goal, but how do we get there if we're not willing to take on any risk? Okay, you want to put it all in a savings account? Well, this is how long it's going to take us to get there in that case. You'll be 90 when it's ready to, when you're ready to retire. That's just the math of it.
You could safely retire at 90.
Right. And then they realize like, oh, okay. But if we decide to play, like, hey, we're probably on track for a more 65 age retirement sort of thing. And so I love that I have this way of being able to take sport and finances and kind of merge them together and talk about things like risk.
How would you then help them navigate the down days? Because, at the end, they're like, well, it looks like, Lauryn, we played and we lost. Like I would imagine when the market's down, they're throwing your analogy right back at you.
All my clients are 30, so I don't have to worry about that just yet, But no, really, people get very scared when you see the market jumping all over the place. And the thing I remind them is that we're playing a long game. The same way that somebody started training 3 years ago, knowing that the Olympic Games was not going to come up for another 3 years. They're playing a long game, not getting injured, going to other competitions, getting themselves ready to get sharp. You have to realize that you're not going to win overnight. You're going to win over a period of time. And hey, today's a day where you're sore, you're tired, you're sick, whatever. The market's down. This is not the end of the line. This is not the finish line that we're looking for. This is just a part of the road that we're on.
Paula, it seems like just based on the conversations you and I have had, you've kind of always been comfortable with the risk of equities. Mm-hmm. How did you get comfortable with that at a young age?
I think, number one, I was always investing for the long term. So it was just as you were talking about. At a young age, that's when it's easiest to be comfortable because you know that the money is going to be in there for decades and decades and decades. And so you know that you just don't really have to think about it. And if you know even a little bit of stock market history, you know that over the long term, the market tends to go up. So I feel like...
Yeah, who was that, though? Was that parents? I mean, did parents show you that? Because my parents didn't really have much stock market exposure.
Yeah.
And I remember even in college thinking investing in stocks sounded cool, but I thought of it more like Vegas.
Yeah. No, I actually was the one who introduced my dad to stock investing. When I was in the 8th grade, I had a teacher. She was a Catholic school nun, like in a nun habit. She introduced us to the stock market. And this is back when you would look up stock prices in print newspapers. So you would get a copy of the print newspaper. And then once a day, you'd like find McDonald's and see what it was at. And so my dad was like, well, what are you learning about in school? And I was like, I showed him the newspaper and I showed him the page that all the stocks were printed on. And he didn't really know anything about it. So he started buying a couple of books. And so it was my exposure from Sister Elizabeth in the 8th grade. Sister Elizabeth introduced me to stocks, and then I introduced my dad to stocks from there. But where I really learned it was then in high school. I read The Millionaire Next Door when I was in high school, and I started reading Money Magazine. I started reading Kiplinger. So it was when I was in high school that I started just reading a bunch of personal finance books and magazines, and that was how I learned it.
So Paula's got this stack of magazines hidden in the back of her closet.
Yeah, exactly.
Paula, are you reading Money Magazine again? You'll go blind.
Exactly.
Right. Let's stick with you, Paula. What's another foundational piece to winning the goal with your money?
So the other foundational piece is to focus on the big 3 expenses. So don't waste your time like trying to nickel and dime everything. Just focus on housing, transportation, food, just those 3 things. Because if you get it right in those 3 areas, you can do a lot of things wrong and still be okay.
Have you guys, Lauryn or OG, if you had a client do that was further along, I talked about getting bougie as you get older, but have you seen somebody just go, we're going to downsize our house for the win, or we're going to get rid of a car for the win? OG, you're nodding.
Yeah, but it was overall part of the plan. And I've seen this a number of times where kids are grown out of the house. We don't need the big house anymore, the big family house. A couple of people have sold their homes, taken the proceeds, let it sit in cash, and that's their travel. We need to find a new place to park ourselves for the rest of our lives. So we're going to go spend 6 months in Florida and 6 months in coastal Carolina and 6 months in Austin and 6 months in LA and 6 months in France. And, where are we going to call home? And use that as kind of the seed money for that exploration over a period of time. And then as the down payment for the next place or the sum total for the next place. So it really has a pretty profound impact. I don't know that I've seen too many people do that midstream. Like, I need to move in order to save money, in order to reach my goal. I'll kind of tear that Band-Aid off, but it's a doable thing. I think that there's so many like I can'ts in the world, like, oh, I can't do that because insert reason here. I can't do that because whatever. And if you're really serious about clean sheet designing all of this stuff, you can do everything differently. You know, especially if you're in the United States, or Canada, and so it's to some level, it's like you can literally go 3,000 miles in any direction. You get to use the same language, the same money. You don't need anybody's permission to move there. You know, it's the same form of government. You try to do that anywhere else in the world. If you're in London and you're like, I hate it here, it's too expensive, I want to move somewhere that's less expensive, you need permission to do that. You know, like, I want to move to Italy. You have to ask if you can do that. Different money and language, and it's different, right, Lauren? I mean,
well, so it's funny. I was going to go right to Lauren. OG, I'm glad you did, because Lauren, you did exactly this.
I have sold the house and fled the country. The house is actually still on the market, to be fair. But yes, you can actually go to a lower cost of living place and be in a better situation overall. So I now live in Medellin, Colombia. It is awesome. I love it. And you can, in fact, lower your housing expense immediately and change the trajectory of your overall financial picture. Another piece of this puzzle, though, is that I'm actually a student loan expert. And so what people do with me sometimes is just book a 60-minute call just to talk about their student loans. Well, I have to know other pieces of your finances in order to talk about your student loans, of course. And what is that? Your car, your home payment, et cetera, et cetera. And what I frequently find is that these people are just like so weighed down with the student loan debt that they're not really thinking about the other aspects of their financial pictures. They're not listening to this awesome podcast. So they don't have the financial literacy that everybody else is getting from listening to Stacking Benjamins. And so what happens? They have houses sometimes that are 70% of their income. And it's just like astronomical, the amount that they're paying, and they're drowning. They're like, these student loans are bearing me. And it's like, no, the student loans aren't bearing you. You bought way too much house. And I think of my job in those moments as, I have 60 minutes to talk to this person. This is not a long-term ongoing financial relationship. I need to try to save their life. And if I'm trying to save their life, I need to tell them the truth. And that truth a lot of times is, you need to get out of this house. And so I've said it a lot more times than I thought I would have said during my career. You need to downsize, and this is going to really, really help you from a financial standpoint. And people have done it.
Boy, and that's the part about being coachable too. I got to imagine sometimes people aren't going to take that message all that well, and you have to be. And by the way, the cool thing there is, to your point, Lauren, we get so myopic, I guess is the word. We focus in so much on this one aspect, like my student loans. I don't think about all the other things I can change. I'm just thinking about changing this one thing.
It's not my going out to eat budget. It's definitely my student loans.
Yeah. If we broaden it out, if we broaden the picture out, and sometimes it takes another person to help us do that. Lauren, you've got the last word here. What's another? I know we've gotten only 2 of yours in. You've got 4 more, but I need the best one before we go.
Never fear. I've got a good one for you all. It is the ability to control your anxiety and or your nerves, because as an Olympian, I think that is a true piece of the puzzle of winning. You can do all this training, all this preparation, and you can just work yourself up so bad on the day of, putting so much pressure on yourself that you just completely cave. And we can do the exact same thing with our finances. We get so anxious about the things that we're going through, the things that we're encountering, these little voices that are going in our head, that we actually forget to just say like, hey, what is it that I'm actually in control of? Let me stop with all the anxiety. Let me get my nerves under control so that I then can go after whatever the financial goal is that I'm trying to pursue. So what does this look like? Sometimes people are like the paycheck to paycheck mode. They're just trying to survive, and they have shame around their finances. They have different things going on. There's a lack of stability just in their general life. Like, how are they going to pay the rent? How are they going to keep food on the table? If you can just take a moment to pause in the midst of that anxiety and that stress that you're feeling, you can say like, okay, what is the most important thing that I need to do right now? What's the one thing that I can handle? And just focus on that and let the other parts of the stress and the anxiety fall away. Because taking that pause for just a second and thinking about the one thing could be the difference between you taking on a payday loan or getting a car payment with a double-digit interest rate because you're not in the best financial situation. Pause and say, hey, why am I so stressed? Why am I so anxious? What can I do about it? And then moving forward, I think is a really good piece of the puzzle, because otherwise you can cave everything in one moment. Believe me, I know, because I race for 11 seconds or less. I'm stressed out. If I'm anxious, if I make a mistake, I don't get the chance to maybe sometimes make that correction. But if I don't panic and I pause, it assures that I'm able to do the best thing in light of all the things that are happening around me.
I think that's actually a great place for us to leave this discussion, because those are fantastic words. How often have we been in that situation? I mean, I've never been on a track in front of millions upon millions of people watching, and I got to take a damn handoff correctly or give a handoff correctly. Like, that is just some stress. But if you can do that on the track, Lauryn, in front of all those people, we can certainly do it with our money. And I think that's a great place to end today. Let's talk about the cool stuff you guys are doing. We'll have our guest of honor go last. OG, what do you got going on this weekend besides watching all the Olympic Games on 24/7 starting today?
We are headed back up north to Michigan. My kids have their final week of summer break before football camp starts.
Wow.
So we boogied back up north for a little cooler weather, and we're going to enjoy one more week of summer in northern Michigan, and then back to reality in Dallas. It's a bajillion degrees.
Well, thanks for another great week of coaching our Money Olympians, OG. And Paula, thanks also to you for coaching our Money Olympians. What's going on at Afford Anything?
So I went to the Morningstar Investor Conference in Chicago.
Never heard of it. No, I'm kidding.
Exactly. It's a tiny little upstart. At Morningstar, I interviewed two people. One was Michael Kitces, the financial advisor, who was a keynote speaker there. And the other is Mir Statman, who's a professor of behavioral finance. And so this week on the Afford Anything podcast is Morningstar Week, where we share the interviews with both Michael Kitces and Mir Statman.
Awesome.
So Michael Kitces talks a lot about the modern financial landscape, everything from AI. Of course, we talk about NVIDIA. We talk about the rise of the S&P 500. We talk about the current economic landscape. We talk about the changes in car insurance and what to do about all of that. That's the discussion that he and I have that's very current economics.
Well, wait a minute. Hold on. A wide-ranging conversation with Michael Kitces? That never happens.
Right? Exactly.
You say hello to that dude, it becomes a wide-ranging conversation.
He's a great interview subject in that regard.
Yeah.
And then with Mir Statman, that interview is much more based on the principles of behavioral economics. So it's the principles of how do we act, what are the ways in which our mental shortcuts and our emotions obscure how we see money and how we behave with money.
It's always fascinating. And talk about the way to win, like getting that part right is, I think, where the money's made.
Absolutely.
Lauryn, thank you so much for hanging out with us and not just coaching our stackers on the gold medal stuff, but sharing the gold medal moments and kind of a little bit of what athletes go through this time of year. It's always fascinating, kind of trying to be there with you. But what are you doing now? What's going on at Worth Winning?
I am just trying to win the Money Olympics like everybody else. So we're getting ready for a new season of the podcast. Worth Listening is coming out.
Awesome.
Yes, this season is all about travel. So if you are interested in learning about money and mixing that little travel piece with the money, then you will love this season of the upcoming Worth Listening podcast. I also have an online program that is launching on July 30th. So we are just days away from that. It is a 6-week money school where you can learn all the things that we should have learned in school about money and create your own financial plan. And then last but not least, I am working on bringing people to Medellin, Colombia, where I live now, and doing that same money school in person. So you get a little vacation if you like to travel, like I said, and then you also learn money. So you're going to build a financial plan while having a good time. You're outside of your normal environment. And yeah, that's what we're doing. We're doing money outside of the box over here at Worth Winning.
I love that. So another season of the podcast and the money coaching, creating your financial plan. And where do we go? We just go to worth-winning.com.
That's it. You can find all the information there.
Awesome. Well, thanks again. And are you going to be glued to your TV watching Olympic coverage?
100%. I have a favorite athlete this time around. I have a favorite event. I have an event I'm excited about. So breakdancing. I'm excited to see. Favorite athlete, Noah Lyles, track and field athlete, but amazing person. Really excited. And he's kind of one of the headliners of the Olympic Games. And then favorite event, OG, get it right, is the 3,000 steeplechase. I love it because it's like a story unfolding. It's a longer race, but it is very, very interesting, especially because people sometimes go plop in that water like you were talking about.
Cannonball.
I know. Every time they go across that, I don't know if it's
the steeple.
God, I did the event in college. It is a steeple. It's not a hurdle. I was like, the hurdle?
You were a steeplechaser?
Well, my coach tried me out. Turns out that me and hurdles don't get along at all.
No, he's not.
Yes.
He's not.
The quick answer is no, not at all. All right. That's going to do it for today. Doug, man, what are our takeaways today?
So what's stacked up on our to-do list for today? First, take some advice from Lauryn Williams, who thinks this was the biggest takeaway.
The details matter. The little things will add up, just like Paula said. Subscriptions, getting rid of those little things, whatever you can do, the small things and the details will add up over the long term.
Lauryn clearly finishes first again, but a close second is the takeaway from OG. Hit it, OG.
Equities all the time. Equities for the win.
But the big lesson? Don't wait on the Olympic Committee to call you for your spot on the American Donut team. Apparently, getting on that squad is super inside baseball because I can't even find anything about it online. Probably got to know somebody. Thanks to Lauryn Williams for joining us today. You'll find all of Lauryn's financial planning work at worth-winning.com. We'll also include links in our show notes at stackingbenjamins.com. Thanks to Paula Pant for hanging out with us today. You'll find her fabulous podcast, Afford Anything, wherever you listen to finer podcasts. And thanks also to OG for joining us. Looking for good financial planning help? Head to stackingbenjamins.com/OG for his calendar. This show is the property of SB Podcasts, LLC, copyright 2024, and is created by Joe Saul-Sehy. Joe gets help from a few of our neighborhood friends. You'll find out about our awesome team at stackingbenjamins.com, along with the show notes and how you can find us on YouTube and all the usual social media spots. Come say hello. Oh yeah, and before I go, not only should you not take advice from these nerds, don't take advice from people you don't know. This show is for entertainment purposes only. Before making any financial decisions, speak with a real financial advisor. I'm Joe's mom's neighbor, Doug, and we'll see you next time back here at the Stacking Benjamin Show.